This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 252. I'm Edie Sellers. In the room, I have Holy Goalie and Nick DiNicola.
I am so not ready for this.
Why?
All of a sudden, it's just like, okay, good. We usually have a little pregame chat. We talk about things and how's it going. All of a sudden, I hear the ding, 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 ding. Hello, everybody. Whoa.
Life's too short. Chop, chop. Let's go.
I mean,
Edie just wants to get rid of us quicker.
I know, talking about just jamming it in.
No, I want to talk to you sooner.
I mean,
What happened to the full play?
I know, get me excited, just tell me nice things about myself.
I get to say this because I'm Irish, but you've heard that old joke about what's Irish foreplay? Bridget, you awake? Brace yourself, Bridget. So, yeah, that's pretty much was a brace yourself, Bridget moment.
I guess Katie by the door. I don't know.
I wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to have it recorded for all of our fans who I love.
As evidence?
Huh?
As evidence?
As evidence of
planning?
No.
I don't know.
No, I'm not looking for an alibi or anything like that. No, I just wanted to get it moving. Because sometimes we get stuck in our pregame chat, like, all over the place. So, it takes a while to get through. And there's so much news to talk about this week. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, some.
What do you mean some? Tons. Tons. Clearly you haven't been watching the Facebook feed. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's where if you want to stay up on the news, to hit our Facebook feed, like our Facebook feed, which is facebook.com/the GameHounds. And yeah, even I had to add some news because there was so much news to putting up, this week. It was crazy. So
I did see it was funny. Like, we'll talk about it later, but some of the I don't know if it was you or Piss Boy. It must have been you because it didn't have Piss Boy's fingerprints all over it about the Motley Fool thing. That was
yes, that was me. I found that I was just cruising through my regular news search of keeping abreast of finance and business and technology, and came across that, and it was like, whoa. Every paragraph was like, oh, there's a whole show we could do on that paragraph alone. And there was like 6 or 8 things that were kind of asserted. And then, come a couple of days later, some of those things actually did happen. We will talk about that in the news.
Yes, we will.
What have you guys been playing?
Nick, wait, before we get going, Nick, you were playing Thief, right?
Yes.
And did you get through it?
Not yet.
But pretty deep?
Yeah, I'm a pretty good chunk of the ways in.
Okay, I just started it.
Okay.
So let me give you my impressions, and then maybe you can kind of take over from there.
Okay.
Boy, if this game is not Dishonored, I don't know what is.
Yeah, okay.
Is it?
I was wondering if either of you had played Dishonored.
I did at PAX last year, PAX East. The first thing we did is we went into the first thing that I did when I got there with you guys was the add-on for Dishonored. That was the first thing.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Remember that? It was the add-on for Dishonored. And I don't know, I don't think I ever got the add-on, but I did go out and buy the Dishonored game after because I did enjoy playing it. And I had a lot of fun with it. At some point, something must have come out. Maybe it was Tomb Raider or Far Cry 3, and I put down Dishonored, and I just never went back to it. It was fun. It was good. It just wasn't great. And I never went back to it. But that's what Thief is. It's the same time frame. It's some Victorian England setting, and you jump up on rooftops and sneak around people to go do things. And the one thing that really is testing my
Patience?
no, not patience, but testing my everything about me is like you steal. It's called thief. So you steal.
Okay.
And I'm like, you go into people's houses and go through the drawers and take everything, and it's just not me. That's
You're having ethical issues.
I am. I'm having ethical issues with this game, and I know it's just a game, and I know that I've killed so many people in video games, so why am I, equating a thief game and not equating the first-person shooters that I play? But there's just something morally wrong about just thieves. I just a big peeve of mine, because I've had my car stolen, I've had my house broken into, and that really bugs me over a lot of other things. So anyway, I'm having a moral dilemma going into people's houses and stealing things. That being said, the game is pretty smooth. I think it's smoother than Dishonored. It's really nice looking.
Really?
Yeah, and the one thing that's kind of weird is it does have an Assassin's Creed control feel to it, where you're using the left trigger a lot.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time with that in Assassin's Creed. And even with this, like I'm like, okay, what's the run button? Oh yeah, it's left trigger, and I have a hard time with that. So I'm kind of adapting to that control scheme. But the story seems okay. I'm about an hour into it, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I'm just kind of sneaking around, and I'm trying to find ways into places, and I'm knocking out guards, and I'm, hiding in closets. Boy, it's just Dishonored. And I know Dishonored wasn't a huge title, but if you played Dishonored, then
I think it was pretty big. Yeah. At least amongst, the hardcore gamers.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, you say Dishonored, and I actually had to look it up. Because I thought was it Destiny? Was it, Disguise? Was it Defiance? It began with a D, and I didn't remember.
I hate it when that happens.
See, that's why this game wasn't a huge game.
Yeah.
Because of that. So anyway, so playing Dishonored was I had a good time. This is the same thing. It's sneaking around. I love the sneaking around. This it almost feels a little bit like Outlast, because you see the guards coming and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get caught. You know what I mean? So you're hiding, or you're doing something crazy. And at least in this one, though, if you have to, you can knock them out. Whereas in Outlast, you can't. We can talk about Outlast later. But so my impressions of Thief are, it's Dishonored, it's fun, it's smooth. I love the sneaking around, but I'm having a moral dilemma of stealing from people. And I still haven't figured out what I'm supposed to be doing aside from stealing people, because I just went into the first place and got the first thing to steal, and that's what I'm doing. So now,
Golly,
Nick,
look at you. You were such a white knight.
I don't know if it's a white knight. I've kind of had a similar weird feeling.
Really?
I agree with a lot of what you said. There's one mission in particular, or one little side mission. It's like you go into this couple's house, and it's like you sneak in, and you're in the the premise is that it's this single father and his older daughter, and he's trying to marry her off to someone, and so all these suitors are giving them gifts, and so you want to go rob them of all those gifts. So you kind of sneak in through her window, and she's sleeping, and then her father's walking around the house, and it's kind of creepy the way he goes into her room, looks at her, and then walks out. And if you sneak around her rooms, you can find her journal that says something like, oh, I hate him so much. I hate how he parades me around. But little does he know that I watched him put the combination into the safe, and whenever I have the chance, I'm gonna knock him out, take the money, and run away. And it's oh wow, that's okay. So then you go about your rest of the thing. You find where she hid the combination, you steal it, all the stuff. And as I was about to take it, I thought, well, can't I leave her some so that she's able to run away?
Or take her with me? I
don't even have to take her with me. Just leave her some money. And I was kind of shouldn't there be some type of moral choice aspect to this game? And there wasn't. And I was like,
So you not only
okay.
fucked over the father, you actually fucked over the girl too.
Yep. Because of course I just stole everything and then left, and it's like, okay, it's kind of weird.
All right. It is kind of weird because, as Goalie says, how many millions of people have we killed? Probably in the millions of people that we have killed collectively in video games in our lifetime, in brutal ways sometimes. And even in Skyrim, you would steal stuff in Skyrim all the time.
Yeah, but it's like this, it set up this context, and it feels like in any other game. Well, Goalie brought up Dishonored. I really loved Dishonored. I thought Dishonored was great, and I feel like this is Dishonored, but missing a couple of things that made Dishonored awesome.
Well, the whole thing, the whole Thief world, it feels very poor. It feels very sick.
It's like there's this disease going around killing half the people. Same with
so that's where I am. I got to a point where I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't think I will here, but whereas I saw the guards treating people badly, almost like in Killzone, you know what I mean? And so it's starting to ramp up this hatred of the people in the controlling class, almost like a dictatorship or something like that. So it's to where I am right now. It's trying to create this animosity between the lowly people and the higher ups. But right now, where I am, I'm just down in the regular parts of town and small business owners and regular people. And it's not like I'm going into the elites and taking from them. I'm kind of like just stealing from everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas it's almost like if you went to your neighbor's house and stole from them. It's like they're not rich by any means, and they're not the controlling class. So you're going to go in and take all their stuff from them, and it just feels, I don't mind the whole Robin Hood theory, but this is just kind of like stealing from everybody. And everywhere you go, there's a coin purse or a coin, or there's sick people on the ground, or there's just whatever. And you just take it from everybody. Now, whereas the Thief game I played on the PC, I just played for about 5 or 10 minutes, but you were sneaking out of jail. And I forget where it went from there, but, right off the bat, you had a reason to be mad and steal things. In this game here, you start off just like stealing everything. And it's just a weird feeling. And I've never had that before in a game where I really felt like, if I'm going to do something bad, I really want a reason for it. Someone shooting at me is a good reason to shoot back.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's the moral dilemma.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, yeah.
I'm now much more interested in playing this game.
Oh, of course you are. I knew it.
What?
What?
What? You both like it.
Yeah, but
I like it, but it's...
You love the controversial games. If it's like in this game, you get to go around and you get to shoot babies in the head. You'd be like, oh, I get to play that game.
No, if I like the games, well, call me a Molyneuxian. I like the games that challenge that. When you're doing dastardly deeds, it challenges you to think about what you're doing.
If the game does that on purpose. In fact, I think it might be because the game is just kind of missing that one thing to make it great that it feels that way.
Okay.
Because I think if you're going to play a game like this, you should play Dishonored. Because I think Dishonored is better.
Better game.
And a lot of that's because the story is better presented. You have these superpowers that make the kind of first-person platforming really
see, that's
easy.
where I think Thief has the advantage.
Really?
Yeah, whereas it doesn't bring in this supernatural presence that Dishonored brought in, which kind of, I know it's a video game, but I really do like games that I think like, that actually could happen. It just brings me in more than when it's like you got this phantom appearing out of midair and this ghost appearing like the Jedis in Star Wars. Thief is pretty much it's right on the level, at least so far. And so
Yeah,
you could still jump and do all the things, but Dishonored, like I said, they had that little, okay, now if you get this certain power, you could dash 40 feet in the air and like a superhero or whatever. It just had that little extra superhero, unbelievable athletic type of thing going on, which is totally unrealistic.
Yeah, but there is some supernatural thing in Thief.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. Well, yeah, that old cuts.
Yeah, especially in the very opening.
It had
And then when
on, but
there's this opening thing, weird stuff happens, and then you wake up a year later, and it's like, well, what happened during that year? And that's kind of a mystery that you're trying to solve.
Yeah. But all in all, I've enjoyed the hour or so I've played it. Have you enjoyed the time you've had?
I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I feel like it's really good, but it's missing kind of that just intangible polish that makes it great.
I did hear some of the reviews said that it's been mixed. Some people really liked it, and some people said it was really lame. I can see both of it. I've enjoyed it, but I haven't got that far, so I could be bored to tears pretty soon. But
one thing that I don't like is kind of how the map works and how the levels are laid out, because when you get to kind of the city, you look at your map and you're like, okay, I can kind of see how the city's laid out, and there's like a central hub and then streets that kind of spoke out in different directions. You're like, okay, each of those is going to lead someplace else. But as you're trying to explore the city, you'll suddenly realize, oh wait, I can't get past this certain area, and I have to climb up the building over here in order to get to this street on the other side. It doesn't hint at that. And then there are these weird loading sections where I look at the map and it looks like it's all one big section, but then I'll run across this window and I'll pop open the window, and instead of having to mash the square button to pop it open, it'll just go to a loading screen, and then it'll load me into another part. And it's like, well, okay, I'm not sure what the difference is between the loading screen windows and the regular windows, and it feels like it's very laid out in a very confusing way, especially this one section of the city that you get to. It's like a goddamn labyrinth. But then, what I hate about the map is that you can't scroll through it vertically. When you bring up the map, all you see is the section of the level that's at your same height is all highlighted.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, you pop open the map, you see it looks one way, and then if you jump down to the ground and open the map, it will look different. And it's like, oh, for a game that's so much about, climbing and stuff, it's really annoying to not be able to see all of the level and to kind of, scroll through the different heights to really be able to tell where you can go.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah. I found it's been a pretty linear experience so far. There's been a couple of ways to go around, but for the most part, it's pretty cut and dry as to where you can and can't go. And you don't necessarily have to go down the hallway, but there's not too many other options aside from maybe go up and over on one side. So
yeah, and it usually keeps it things like that. And it is fun to play. The movement is cool. Every time you steal something, there's this little sound effect of coin falling on the ground, or shifting around coins in your hand. It just sounds really neat. So it's a little thing I like that makes me that it feels good to steal things. Even when I feel oh, I shouldn't take this, and then I do. It's oh, there's that coin sound. Okay. I feel a little better.
What's really kind of neat too on the PS4 is it's like Splinter Cell and other games. When you go into the light and then you're seen, and when you go, the thing comes up on the screen, and then when you go into the dark, it gets dark, so you can tell if you're hiding or not. The light on the controller goes from its standard blue to bright white if you go into the light.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. You're like, oh boy, I'm in the light, and sometimes you only see it on your fingers. Sometimes if you hold it, you see the reflection on your fingers, which is kind of neat. But yeah, so that does change colors as well.
one of the things that like threw me off for a second is how it like handles stealth, because after you beat a chapter, the game kind of tells you this is your play style.
Yeah,
and it will award you points depending on how you played, which is pretty neat. But then I played it like I usually play stealth games, which is I go around and knock out everybody I can, because I want to take them off the map. I don't want them to see me. I don't want to kill them. I just want to knock them out. But this game doesn't really differentiate between killing and knocking out. So like the first time I got one of those levels, it was like, you're a predator. Like, what? I thought I was sneaking around and being really stealthy, and it's the ghost play style was almost 0.
Yeah,
and the predator play style was like 95%. It's like, oh, geez, okay. I guess I'm a predator.
Giggity.
I don't know. How's that giggity?
Doesn't make you a bad guy. It makes you a bad guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it feels good, and I want to keep playing it because it's just there's like I said, it feels smooth, and I like just moving around. I like exploring the city.
I like how when you've done the levels, remember you said it gives you like a little report card at the end of the level. Mm-hmm. At that point, it gives you the option of going back and playing that level again. It's kind of cool. So as soon as you get through a level, you can go back at any time and play it again. You can play it a different way. I thought that was really neat, because there's some games that don't do that, whereas you can't go back and play that level again. And I like that aspect. I was like, it felt like a chapter closing, and you're like, how would I do that differently? That was kind of neat.
And what, kind of on that same subject, when to get to any of the levels, like you basically go to the edge of the city, and there'll be like a little floating thing, and you hit that, and it's like, okay, it's almost like a door, like you walk up to a door on one part of the city, and it will load you into that chapter. And after you beat that chapter, that little, teleporty thing is still there. So even after you beat the chapter, even after you go play chapter 3, 4, 5, if you go back to the door that you used to play chapter 1, you can play chapter 1 again. So
I like that. Yeah.
The whole game is always open to you.
Mm. Hey, Outlast. Have you guys played any more Outlast?
I have.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I've gotten...
I was watching Edie play it the other night, and I'm so glad that I actually tuned in, because I saw you were outside. Now, I haven't been very deep in this game, so I'm not anywhere near you yet, but you were outside, and you come around a corner with the camera on the night vision, and this guy started running at you. You're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And you just like ran. And that's what this game does, is you just run.
Run as fast as you can and find a dark corner and crouch down and pray for your life.
Yeah, and you got away, right? You did get away, but then you're like, where the hell am I? And that's what you do sometimes, is you just run.
That's right.
And it's just, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm safe for now, but where am I? And then you were hiding behind something, and this big mother effer was standing like in the middle with the rain coming down on him, looking around. And you were like real close to this guy. There's no freaking way I'd be that close. Holy shit. So
well, he moved close to me, and I certainly wasn't going to move, because I don't know if you noticed, but when you walk around in those bushes outside, that it intentionally will make a crack that will be super loud. So I knew if I moved that I was going to make noises that was going to be heard. So I'm noticing from pretty much that point in the game onward that before you could pretty much move around with relative impunity as far as making noise. Now, from being out in the courtyard on, moving around quickly is death to you, pretty much. And I have now gotten to a point, if you haven't played it, cover your ears. If you have played it, don't cover your ears for the next 3 seconds. Ready? Okay, cover your ears. I'm at the point where I've lost my camera.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And when that happened, I was like, fuck this, and just turned it off.
Oh.
That happened, and it was like, it just was in a really shitty place, and I ended up getting in a really good spot, and then stuff happened, and then I lost it. And then once that happened, it fell down through the cracks in the floors down to the lower level where I had just very carefully gotten out of. And it won't let me go any further until I get it back. So it means I have to drop down into that really horrible, shitty place where there's just tons of them just running around randomly.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I went back and I played a little bit more of that, and I'm further behind than you. I'm trying to remember what I did. I remember I did the basement thing. Holy shit! I think I was twitching that.
Yes, the one was right at the beginning with the basement. Yeah, that one actually wasn't. Turned out it started out really tough, but once you realize the limits of what you could get away with, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I just ran, and I tried to remember as I backtracked while I was running, and I just was like just running my ass off, and somehow he didn't chase me, and I don't know if I lost him or what, but
once you jump up out of the water and over that thing, you're safe.
Okay, yeah, because I ended up, I saw him and he came at me and I was like freaking out, and then I ran, and then I went and I think I just kind of hit a switch and just kept on running, and next thing you know, I was out of the basement. I was like, wow, that was, whatever. Mm-hmm. But
it's so much harder, so much worse from the courtyard on. Oh my God, there's a whole section that I know you will rage quit.
No, I don't know if I'll rage quit. I'm just like shaking in my boots doing this game.
Yeah, there's a section of it that is just nigh on impossible.
I've never played a game like this that I'm buying into it, and I'm buying into the scary parts and the horror and the, like, you climb up a ladder and boom, there's a guy there. It's like, just that type of creepiness. And not everybody's trying to kill you either. That's what's kind of good about it. You just don't know
which ones are, and ones that you think are not going to kill you are absolutely fine. And ones that do want to kill you, they will be sitting there lying in wait, and you have no idea.
Yeah, it's just doing a good job there. Now, I don't know if I'll ever finish it because I am like, wow. I mean, and this is a tough game. I tried to play it on Twitch live. It's really a tough game to broadcast live because it's, at least the part that I was in, I was going real slow, and it's like camera on, camera off, camera on. So there's a lot of darkness. And there's a lot of listening. Like, I was listening for the guy as he walked through the water, trying to figure out how far away he was so I could make my move. And stuff like that's not real fun to watch.
Well, also remember, there's two things that I think that could help you. Is that it seems, until you get into the courtyard, it seems that it never lets you get more or less than 3 batteries. If you drop down below 3, surprisingly, a battery will appear on the ground somewhere very close to you, or in the process of doing stuff, you'll find a battery. But if you have 3 batteries, you'll not find any more. Oh, okay. Until you get to the courtyard. Then all of a sudden you've got 6 batteries, which is never a good sign. What's the guaranteed way that you knew in, say, for example, Battlefield or Borderlands, is if you knew that there was going to be a horrible fight right around the corner, you'd find all this ammo.
Yeah,
and if it gives you ammo, you know you're about to use it all. And that's what those batteries are for, is that you all of a sudden your maximum goes up to like 6 or 7 batteries, and you're like, fuck, I know it's coming.
Yep.
And it is. It's I want to finish this game, but I am so frustrated by it because it's doing everything it can to make sure that I don't play it for long periods of time. Every time
that's what a horror game's supposed to do.
You end up not wanting to play it. I've had some really good scares though, and I've been glad that there's been several times I've been taping it. I'm not taping it, broadcasting it, and people have just like the kind of scares that make you just laugh your ass off right afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I've had some people that watch me and watch you, and they were like, "Oh, I don't see what's so scary about that." It's like, well, you're not playing.
You're not playing it. It's
when you're
scary.
sitting back and you just kind of watching, it's like whatever.
Right.
But try give it a whirl.
Yeah, and also the booga booga scares go away for the most part and get limited, and then it's just oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. It's the feeling of vulnerability that really makes it horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Is that there's just no way to get away from these guys other than running and hoping you can hide. So yeah, I'm still, I wouldn't say enjoying it. I'm still playing it, but in small doses, and yeah, until I can't take it anymore, and then I have to move on. But what I have been playing at Nick's behest is Fire Emblem Awakening on the
Really?
DS. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a good game. Not a game I
it
would
is.
have picked for myself at all. No freaking way. It's all the things I absolutely hate about Nintendo games. Oh God, everything. The characters, the you have to keep punching A to get through the dialogue. And then every time that there's a new person talking, they go, "Huh? What? Crom? Hey."
No, I kind of like that.
You know that, oh man, I freaking hate that. And then you have these little characters on the screen that look like something between like toddlers and stuffed animals. And then you have this, it's all just such an annoying, everything annoying about a Nintendo game for me.
One thing I have to say,
But it's good.
Your 3DS, you might have noticed none of the characters seem to have feet. And your 3DS is not broken.
Okay.
There's not some glitch in the game.
They really don't have feet.
They really don't have feet.
They all look like Weebles. Sort of like Weebles Wobbles, but they don't fall down. It's probably before your time. But they all look a lot like Weebles.
It's hilarious. I had to like Google that to figure out like what is going on here. And I guess when they were modeling all the characters, they weren't sure like how many joints of articulation the 3DS could take. So they're like, okay, let's just leave off the feet for now.
And then they never had them
when
back.
they got to the end, they're like, we could have added feet. The 3DS could have handled that, but we've already done it with no feet. So they look kind of cool.
Keep it going. Yeah, no, it is a surprisingly good, surprisingly complex, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I find that there's a lot of this game I do not understand, and they don't do a very good job explaining. I'm finding it difficult to figure out, okay, I have to do I upgrade my swords? All right, well, certain swords will work with certain people, and I've gotten into battles where I've got a sword in somebody's possession, but that person can't use it, which essentially makes them completely useless on the battlefield.
I had to look at that too. What the deal with that is that each sword will kind of have a rank on it that it will show, it will say E, D, C, B. Each sword has a ranking, and a character can only use it if they are proficient in that weapon up to that level.
Yeah, that's right. I figured that out, but it's very difficult.
Okay.
And I'm not crazy about the menu system, but I have reached a point in the story that the battles, and I'm playing it on Wimp mode, where I'm not losing characters if they die. Because otherwise I would have wiped out my entire... There'd be nobody standing. But I've had a point where the battles are getting really pretty challenging, where if I don't really pay attention to what I'm doing, I could fail. And I'm really, really liking it. I'm liking how you can match up the different characters together. They get bonuses for being matched up, and that the more of a relationship they have, the more bonuses they get.
Yep.
So
it's that is probably the singularly best thing about the game.
Right. But the problem is that I find that now if I have acquire a character, or if I didn't play a character that I got earlier on and it's a low level, like a level 2, level 3, and everything else is running at like 7 or 8, it's really hard to get that character leveled up. Almost impossible. It's like they've almost become dead to me.
Yeah, there are other characters that appear that are level at the same level.
Yes, exactly.
and they're
I've
pretty
acquired
good.
other characters that are a higher levels. Yes, I have acquired those, but then the ones that are level, when you get a new character later on, they actually come in at the level of whatever you're playing. But
Yeah.
if you haven't leveled those characters up earlier in the game, which I didn't realize quite how to switch people in and out, that if you're at level 7 and you didn't play somebody at the beginning and they're level 1 or 2, then you're pretty well screwed.
Yeah, there are characters. The guy's name starts with V. He always says Teach.
Vicus. Oh no, that's yeah.
Yeah, he's the axe guy.
Fuck yeah,
I
he's the axe guy.
use him,
Oh, all the
and
time.
I almost never use him.
Oh, he's awesome.
Oh,
He's awesome.
My go-to badass can almost wipe the map on their own team is
Frederick.
Viron and Sully.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have such a good relationship, and Sully is so strong that basically any enemy will go and attack her, and she will counterattack, and between the two of them, they can wipe out someone with one counterattack.
Right.
Because she'll attack, then he'll attack, then she'll attack again, and he'll attack again. And it's it's gotten to the point where I've stopped taking them into some battles because I know they'll kill everyone. They'll take all the kills.
Right. And I've got that going with me and my character and Crom.
Oh.
And actually, you know who I just send out? I don't even pair him up because he's such a badass as Frederick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even I just send him out. It's like I know he can get out there, but the ones I'm having a problem with is all of the flying characters, the Pegasus Knight and the other chick, Syria or whatever her name is. Sumia. Yeah, her and anything that's flying they are so weak.
Yeah, they are. You'll actually get another Pegasus character later on who's a lot stronger, and I've taken to not using Sumia.
Yeah, no, Sumia. Yeah, I got the other Pegasus character, but still, even her, she's a bit of a glass jaw as well.
A little bit, yeah, but better than the other one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's horrible. So anyway, yeah, I'm enjoying it, and it's surprisingly addictive. I've been finding myself where Kevin caught me playing my DS, and he said, "Spend all that money on a PS Vita, and here you are playing your DS." I'm like, "Well, no, it's a game. Nick told me it was good, and what?" So I have to kind of hide that I'm playing it now. Go into the bathroom. What are you doing? Nothing. I'm in the bathroom.
Constipated.
Yes, I'm just give me a second, all right? Girl, it's a girl problem. And I'm sitting there playing my DS. So he doesn't know.
Cool, I'm glad you're liking it.
Yeah. So good call on that. I would definitely give Fire Emblem Awakening I'd give it a solid 7.5 to 8.
Cool.
So anyway, dude, we want to hit the news.
So,
you got one more.
Thing, remember Golden State last we were talking about how we were looking for a mobile game that was more substantial and just 10-minute thing to do. I played a lot of Hearthstone on PC because it's not available for mobile yet. But it's the collectible card trading game, the Warcraft themed collectible trading game from Blizzard. And it's really, really good. I never played Magic. I had friends who played Magic, but I never did. And it's a lot simpler than that, which is nice. It's kind of designed to be played in just little 10-15-minute chunks because of just how the game works. You will never play a game of Hearthstone that lasts more than 20-30 minutes. But what I like about it is that there are 10 different hero characters, and each of them kind of have a different set of specific cards that kind of change how they play. And as you play with each hero, they actually rank up. And as they level up, you get more cards from them. and then you can use all those cards to customize and build your own deck. And so, even though it hasn't come to mobile platforms yet, but it clearly will, just because of like how the menu is laid out, and it feels like a game that I could play on my iPhone, that I could play for little 10-minute chunks at a time. That still feels substantial, because there is a lot of strategy in how you do the cards, and then your characters are leveling up, and then you're earning new cards, and then you're customizing your deck. There's a lot to it, other than just, match 3 in 60 seconds, or, see how high you can run in this endless runner. So, I'm excited for when that comes out on iPhone, because I think I'll play that a lot. And also, it's free to play the greatest way possible. The way that game is set up, you would have to really, really spend money to put money into it. Like, it does not demand any type of microtransaction.
Oh, how nice! Really, I'm actually kind of surprised that it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like I was talking about it on the Pop Matters podcast, that it's so friendly in how it doesn't force you to do microtransactions. It almost feels like a gift to the players of World of Warcraft. Like Blizzard said, you know what? We've made so much money from you. Have this game for free.
That does really say a lot about how much money World of Warcraft has, is that they're literally giving it away. They're just like, fuck, why not? We don't need it. Money, we got enough of that. We're full. We cannot take any more money. All of our bank accounts are stuffed. They won't let us open anymore. We cannot take your money.
Yep. So yeah, that's cool. And then this is kind of an old one, but I finished Wolf Among Us episode 2, and god damn that ending! Oh,
yeah. A lot of people complain that episode was a little slow compared to the first episode.
Oh, see, I kind of loved the pace of that, just
right?
Because it felt like a real detective investigation.
Right, you were definitely figuring stuff out instead of letting things happen to you. Whereas the first episode, like, things would happen and you'd have to react to them. This was not that many things happen that you had to react to, but the end makes up for that.
Yeah.
The story becomes as fucked up as the story kind of is already. It becomes a lot more fucked up,
and it's almost appropriate. We started watching House of Cards, and I'm 2 episodes in, and I'm like, oh, these stories feel kind of similar.
They are.
Like people in power kind of abusing their power. It's like, these people are fucked.
Oh, well, you and I should talk after the show. Or maybe on Happy... Well, maybe probably not on Happy Endings, because that's live. But you and I should talk sometime when we're not going to be spoiling the crap out of it, and talk about that ending, because I think that there's more there, and I didn't think about it until Kevin brought it up.
Because that can't be it. We're only 2 episodes out of 5.
Right, and okay, let's just say, the thing that you were investigating at the very beginning, the thing that you get off of the dead body, right? Mm-hmm. All right, the little black market thing.
Yeah.
Remember that thing made somebody look like somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't assume that what you saw was in that picture was what you saw.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Exactly. And that was the thing that was like, oh my God, that's so gross. Oh, he said it's, and Kevin was like, remember, what you see is not necessarily what you're seeing.
But then there's the thing with the mirror. Unless the person that we thought was someone is not someone.
Exactly. It could go so many ways. Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yep. That's what Kevin did to me right afterwards. That's what I love about Telltale games, is when you're done with them, especially when they're episodic, or even in the middle, because you can pause them before you make a decision. Kevin and I will have discussions about, okay, what's going on here? And it just strategizing about, well, what if this is happening? Remember, Maybe his leg isn't broken. Maybe he isn't bitten. All you just saw was he said he was tripped. Now, maybe he's right. He just tripped. So, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yes. Telltale, once again, out of the ballpark. Absolutely nails it out of the ballpark.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, one more thing before we get on to the news.
Yeah.
I was talking about going back to Far Cry 3.
Yeah, you did. I saw that.
I did. And you know what it is I finished Tomb Raider on PS4.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's the second time I played through that. Once on a 360, once on a PS4. Loved it again. The only complaint I had is when I finish it, I got my guns up and I have like all the silencers on the pistols and the other guns, which is great for sneaking up on stuff. And then it kind of ended. Like right when I got everything right where I wanted to, it was like, okay, coming up for the final battle. It'd be nice if you could start over like Borderlands 2 with all your stuff all ramped up and play a different difficulty or something.
Yeah.
There's not a New Game Plus? For some reason, I thought there was a New Game Plus. That totally seems like the kind of game that would have that.
I think you can go back. Like I'm going back now and finding some of the treasures and the maps and stuff. But everything's pretty much clear. There might be a stray band of guys somewhere. But I think when I went back on the 360, there was really nothing in your way.
Yeah,
so
like you can go back to the island, but you can't start over.
Yeah, you can't do any of the missions or anything like that. So I finished the Tomb Raider, but I was in that mood, and I put in Far Cry 3, and I remember I reset all the outposts. So I'm going back and I'm liberating outposts. That game, I tell you, I just love that. Because it was so Tomb Raider-esque with the adventure pod and just, And now that I finished the game, I'm still playing it because I'm resetting outposts. I got other quests I can do. It's so much fun. I mean, now I'm trying to find more of the idols, and they're tucked away pretty good, some of these things. They're not just laying in the grass. And Far Cry 3, I'm having fun. I jumped into a boat, and I went over to an island and took out an outpost and sniping guys in the head and, trying to shoot the switch on the horns, the horns to, notify the reinforcements. So I'm trying to pick those off with a sniper rifle so they can't call in reinforcements. Oh, man, that was such a great game. If that came to PS4, I would buy that again, like Tomb Raider, and play that on PS4.
I know. I'm waiting for, like, the Far Cry compilation to come out on next gen because...
Yeah, I would love to play this on the PS4. So I think that's the one thing that's kind of keeping me going back to... keeping me from going back to Far Cry is the fact that I have to turn on my PlayStation 3. I mean, my Xbox 360. It's so hard to go back to that machine. It's so freaking slow. Oh my god!
The graphics are nice, but they're just not quite as nice.
No,
as the PS4.
they're not even close to being as good as the PS4, and it's clunky, and I don't like the controller anymore.
Like, I can't really notice the difference between graphics between 360 and some PS4 games, like Thief. I don't think Thief looks particularly next gen. Mm-hmm. I could be playing it on 360 and I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, well, that's entirely possible.
And also, like, my TV can only go to 720p.
Right. Yeah.
So
you don't have 1080p, then you're not.
No matter how good the game could look, it's kind of limited to what my TV is.
Right.
The TV is the limiting factor now, not the console.
So. Look at that! It's before 11. Wow, we actually have half hour to talk about news. I'm so excited. Can we talk about news
quick,
now?
Goalie, what else have you been
Can we talk about news, please? Please, for me.
Yeah, no, that's it. I just the Tomb Raider, the Far Cry 3,
for me,
and then Thief.
For me,
and,
please. Just this 1 week. I want to have enough time to talk about news. For me. Present.
I can't stretch this out for 5 minutes. I haven't played enough.
Please, just let me do this. For me, just this 1 week.
And
I need
now, the news.
This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie Holy Goalie and Nick DiNicola. I'm very excited, Gamer Edie. So, tons of news this week. Oh my god. Anybody want to start? Because I got loads.
Can we start with that Motley Fool thing that was up on our team?
Oh, yeah. Let me pull it up. All right, so I found this. What, Motley Fool?
I know what the Motley Fool is, but, like, what is this this
This
story.
is what happens when you don't follow our Facebook page, Nick. You miss out.
Because I have a bunch of news of my own, but I don't know what this news is.
Okay, let me pull it up. Where the hell is it?
How do I get Nick off this call? I'm really sick of him.
I think there is a way, but I'm not going to.
I get 2 emails and 3 tweets I'm going to go over later that says we need to get Nick off the show.
All right, so Motley Fool, if you're not familiar with Motley Fool, it is an investor's website, strictly about stocks and investing. It's a couple of guys. They started it many years ago. Very, very smart. All about essentially how to invest in stocks for anywhere from the beginners to very advanced people. Very smart investing site. They had an article last week called Microsoft's Xbox One is selling so poorly, retailers are getting desperate. And in this article, they discuss in a lot of detail about the troubles that Microsoft is having with selling the Xbox One. Just to give you an idea of, I'll just read the first 2 paragraphs of it. It says that things aren't looking good for Microsoft's Xbox One. After what was admittedly a very strong debut, sales of the console have slowed to a crawl. Last month, according to research from NPD, rival Sony's PlayStation 4 outsold the Microsoft's console in the U.S. by a ratio of 2-to-1. Is the runaway success of the PlayStation 4 simply overshadowing Microsoft's latest console, or is Xbox One not doing as well as Redmond expected? The latter is looking increasingly likely as retailers such as Target, Walmart, and GameStop have begun to offer heavy incentives on the Microsoft console. And the bottom line is that this article, very interesting, but it brings up a ton of rumors and speculations and things that have been hinted about. And that's what Motley Fool is very good at. It's going out and kind of coalescing rumors from an investor's side and bringing them all together in very tight stories. And the bottom line of this whole article was that Xbox One is selling like ass. The PS4s are flying off shelves. In fact, the guy that wrote the article went out and started looking for PS4s and couldn't find anything but the $700 bundles that were for advance. Like have to wait for them to come in.
700?
Yeah,
that's almost double the original price. What is in that bundle?
I don't know.
That's
Target incentivizing Xbox One sales with a fifth, and then these are some of the talking about the incentives. That Target's incentivizing Xbox One sales with a $50 game or a Target card for $50, which for all intents and purposes is cutting the $100 difference between the Xbox One and the PS4 to $50. And because of that, Microsoft is rumored to be looking into a price drop by way of a version of the Xbox One without the disk drive so that they could drop the price down to the same price as Xbox One.
Yeah, I've heard them talking about that before.
And while that wouldn't cut the cost of the Xbox One dramatically, because hard drives really are not, a $100 difference is not, that doesn't cost $100 to put a hard disk drive.
Not hard drive.
Hard disk drive. Right. Disk drive.
Disk drive.
Disk drive, right.
They can't get rid
Sorry,
of the
not a hard
drive.
disk. Sorry. I'm sorry. A disk drive.
Yeah, no, we got it, yeah.
But there's a no disk drive Xbox One would mean that all content for that new iteration of an Xbox One would have to be digital. Mm-hmm. You couldn't go to GameStop to go buy a disc. You couldn't buy a used game. It would all have to come from the mothership. And that's where they would make their money back without having the disk drive. So, of course...
Do you think they take a hit, like sell a disk drive list one for $400, take that hit, and then make it up?
Make it up on the content, because that would essentially eliminate used games for that console. Mm-hmm. And so... It's a fascinating article. It's under the website for Motley Fool is called Fool.com. Look it up. Titled Xbox One selling so poorly, retailers are getting desperate. It's a really good article. But curiously enough, less than a week later, the UK, I think it was The Guardian that I brought it out, announces that there is going to be a price drop in the Xbox One in the UK only, down to the same price of a PlayStation 4. So,
But
shortly after that
it's
article
not a
came out.
permanent-
Is it not permanent or is it temporary?
It's temporary.
It is temporary. Okay, well that's interesting because I just read the article off BBC News Technology page, and they didn't say that it was temporary. And they also didn't talk about the compensation for the people who paid, the release price, that they're going to be getting a free game out of it, a free launch title.
Oh, that's nice. Because I read that basically Microsoft is kind of doing everything they can to push Titanfall.
Right.
And in the UK, that includes cutting the price of the Xbox One to try to boost its sales for Titanfall. It's like I think what I read is it was a one-day only sale.
Oh, is it?
One-day only price cut.
I'm reading it again. It does say that it is. Microsoft is keen to point out that comparing the previous console, the newer model is enjoying record-breaking launch, blah, blah, blah. The newer, cheaper bundle will include a copy of Titanfall, a major title that Microsoft expects will significantly drive sales of the console.
That's in the U.S. In the U.S., they have the Titanfall bundle, which is really poor timing because I've been talking to Forceman over Skype, and he recently bought an Xbox One to play the Titanfall beta, and not a week later, they announce a bundle where you would get Titanfall for free. And it was like, oh...
Good.
That has to hurt.
Good.
Oh, that's mean. I'm like that. Oh, that's.
I think it's really funny. I'm on the GameHounds Facebook page when I was reading this. Actually, it was February 20th. This got posted. Xbox One selling like ass. I just started the PS4 flying off shelves, and then I looked and it was the Motley Fool, and this is released by the Motley Fool co-founder David Gardner. No relation to myself, but that's this guy's name, David Gardner. He says, quote, I'd like to call out GameHounds host Edie Sellers, who recently said on one of their podcasts that the reason why Xbox Ones were selling more because they made more and PS4s are short. So, F you, Edie, and GameHounds.
Wait, that made no sense to me.
No, that was what? You were the one
that said the one on the one on the shelves at Christmas time was the one that was going to win the console war.
You were the one that was saying, "Oh no, the reason why that there's no PS4 is because there's not enough, and that Xbox made so."
I never said that.
Calling bullshit.
I am totally calling. Gully, once again, you are selectively hearing. I never said that. I said it was a question of whether PlayStation 4 or whether Sony... I said it was a question.
It's not about winning Christmas. You said here that the reason why there's so many more Xbox Ones on the shelf is because Xbox One made so many more and PS4 didn't.
Nick, do you want I never said that. I said that in the past that both console makers and also Nintendo have intentionally created shortages so that they could get buzz going, especially around Christmas time, so they could sell out their consoles and they could make them the most talked about item of Christmas. And that if they chose to do that again this year, they would be making a huge mistake because this is the first Christmas that it would be a head-to-head release of both of two consoles, not just both, but two major consoles that are head-to-head competitors. And if they tried to pull that bullshit this year, the guy who didn't have the consoles on the shelves would lose Christmas. That's what I said. I will be happy to roll back that tape for you. That's what I said. And Sony didn't do that. I am really surprised that anybody is finding... I'm at the same time I'm hearing people that are finding shortages of the PlayStation 4 and can't get a PlayStation 4. I'm hearing other people that will send me Facebook posts that it's like, I had no problem finding a PlayStation 4. I went right down my console, my GameStop, and there they were. They had it at Best Buy. Sony is doing the right thing. They're keeping enough of them on the shelves, going out in very regular intervals so that there's never anybody waiting all that long to get a console. Microsoft's on the shelves because it's not selling. Bottom line, not selling. People are not paying that extra $100. Gully, I honestly have to wonder if you ever listen to what I say. I really have to wonder, because Nick, you are the tiebreaker here, and you are being noticeably silent.
I want to hear you two fight this out. This is fun.
Yes, but what do you remember I saying? I never said that Xbox One was winning. Never in a million years.
No, but you would always go on about how it's the company with consoles on the shelves that would win.
Right, because if they bought into that whole intentionally shorting retailers so that they could create buzz over Christmas, they were fucking themselves. And Sony didn't do it.
Specifically over Christmas.
Yes!
Yeah, that didn't play out.
Yes, that didn't play out. Exactly.
Even now, the company with stock on the shelves is not the one
right.
the best.
Right. And it's not just the company intentionally with the stock off the shelves, but it's also the company that's I think Sony's doing, actually, despite what Motley Fool says, I think Sony's doing a pretty good job keeping consoles coming to the market at a fairly regular tick. That maybe you can't go out today in your area, and it varies from person to person. Maybe you can't go out today and get a console off the shelves, but you can get one in at least a week. And people will wait $100 for a week. If you're talking about if somebody has to wait a month or more, you'll end up buying an Xbox One. Especially depending on the games that are out at the time. Goalie, you don't listen to anything I say. I will happily pull up. That's the nice thing about podcasts. It's all on the record. You pull it up, and don't take it out of context. And I never said Xbox One was winning. Ever.
Oh, I didn't say that Xbox was winning. What I said was I was quoting the article that says Xbox selling like gas, PS4 is flying off the shelves. And when we talked about this before, you were trying to make the case that PS4 wasn't necessarily the favorite. It's just that Xbox One had so many more consoles that by default there was going to be so many more on the shelves. That's what I was hearing. Maybe that's not what you were spraying, but that's what I was hearing.
That was definitely not what I was spraying. Definitely not.
I'm just saying that when we had this discussion, you were kind of, I think that wait a minute, I think Xbox a little bit. We were all excited about PS4, and Xbox was kind of floundering or whatever, and you were kind of sticking up for Xbox in your own little way because they had stuff on the shelf, but you were backing it up by saying that they had so much more product.
I think that was a supposition, and I said, don't assume, because the numbers hadn't come in, because this is probably right. You're talking about the conversations we had right after Christmas, like the beginning of the year, when all the numbers were coming in from the NPD, right? Goalie?
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it was just funny how you would. Well, like I said,
I was playing devil's advocate and saying that those numbers could be skewed. That everybody was looking at the shelves and seeing consoles on the shelves and assuming it was, Xboxes on the shelves, and assuming it's because the Xboxes weren't selling. And I was saying, look, that's not the only reason why this could happen. It could be that they're making so many Xboxes, they're pumping them out on the shelves, hoping that they're going to take advantage of a shortage on the PlayStation 4.
But everybody else was saying, boy, we want a PS4, and they're gobbled up right away. And then, GameStop and everybody else was like, oh, hey, how would you like an Xbox One? No, you got a PS4? No. So I don't say nobody, but just the majority of the people were not interested in Xbox One.
Right.
I went through the drive-thru the other day. It's like, can I get the number one and a cherry pie? It's like, hey, you want an Xbox One with that? No, I don't. Thank you. We'll knock $100 off the price, throw in Titanfall. No, thank you. So I mean, that's just my point. And I'm not trying to bash on Xbox here. I'm just pointing out that PlayStation won so far. PlayStation 4 has won this particular leg of the race.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants one. Everybody's happy with them. And I just recently found out, well, not recently, but found out that Xbox One is going to, quote, add party chat. Why? That was the best thing about the 360.
Well,
no, they have it.
They have
party chat.
They have it.
It's not
It's not as easy to get into as what it is. And you know what they're also adding, which was another bit of news I was going to bring in, probably Nick already had, is that they're getting broadcasting, Twitch broadcasting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my point was when I read this, I just kind of laughed because that's what I was thinking. Xbox selling like ass, PS4 is flying off the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
That was my whole point. And you were playing devil's advocate saying, "Oh no, it's not because everybody wants PS4."
I said it could be not because everybody wants PS4. That was before the numbers were out. You have to look at it logically. There could be multiple reasons why there's Xboxes on the shelves and PlayStation 4's not. It could be supply. It could be demand. There was no way to know at that time.
Anyways,
this is the steam coming out of my head right now.
I'm just not willing to jump on the Xbox One bash wagon that you're willing to jump onto.
I'm not. I'm just calling out the facts.
Kind of are.
Just the facts.
Yeah, Nick agrees. You kind of are. Any opportunity that you saw to bash on the Xbox One because you were mad, and I don't blame you.
I'm still mad at them. They
right.
They wrecked the Xbox 360. They wrecked it.
Exactly, and I don't disagree with you. I would be very pissed. I am very pissed off as it, but at the same time, I can't just bash on them just because I see an advantage. Have to look at it logically and say there's two reasons why you see more Xbox Ones on the shelves: demand or supply. And there was no way to know until the numbers were in. Now the numbers were in, it turns out it was demand. And that may actually have something to play into one of my next items that I want to bring up as it came up today, the new head of the Xbox division. You guys heard about that?
Yeah.
No.
Elon Musk, who was the CEO of Nokia. Now, he was looked at to be the replacement for Steve Ballmer, but he didn't get that job. But they did make him head of the Xbox One division. And here is an interesting thing about him. When he was brought up for a CEO, as a candidate for CEO, back in November, and I guess he was shortlisted. One of the things that he is very big in, because he had a lot of interviews with Bloomberg and all these other, investment news sites and stuff. He's really into Microsoft Office and really into broadening the core base of Microsoft as a business software company and business hardware company, and kind of expanding it into the home. And one of the things that he has said is he is not adverse to the idea of stripping out a lot of the stuff that Microsoft has going that aren't really contributing to the whole Office experience. And that being getting rid of Bing and getting rid of Xbox. He has been on the record saying he is not adverse to the idea of selling off the Xbox division.
I know. What's up with that?
Yeah. Because it is...
Is it because of the Xbox?
It does lose money.
You think, or is it beyond that?
I think it's beyond that.
It's because it does lose money, especially because they're probably still in the red from the 360 fiascos. Multiple of them.
They're still in the red ring.
Yeah.
But
Nick, you say these things. You don't even realize it, how funny.
I don't. I'm a gold mine of jokes. If only I could dig in there and pick them out.
You're like a
giggity
bear sometimes. You just don't. You're just funny, just rolling around in the snow.
But
yeah, the Xbox division, I don't think is technically profitable.
Well, I think it's considered, for all intents and purposes, standalone on its own, fairly successful. But
yeah, well, it's probably certainly the most consumer liked Microsoft product ever made.
Right.
I think people do still like Xbox more than Surface or Bing
Oh,
or
God.
even Windows
God,
Office.
yes. Yeah. But that being said, it isn't really in the games division really isn't in the ethos of Microsoft itself as a software company and, software and hardware company that is about business. Surface being about how to bring your work home and how to be more efficient in your work. Microsoft Office, which is about Office. It's called Office for a reason. They were kind of a business thing that kind of got into the home through the PC and then kind of branched off into this gaming console. And they've been trying to kludge the gaming console to bring the Office and everything else, all the other stuff that they've going on, the Microsoft music, into the home, and it's never quite worked. They've never quite got the Xbox and all their other products to kind of fit together into a seamless, all-in-one Microsoft experience. That's the reason why the Xbox One, in its first iteration, when it was first announced, had all these features that everybody freaking hated. Because they were trying to make it fit in with this overall entertainment center, a Microsoft-based household. And clearly that did not work. So now, of course, once again, Xbox is now sitting out as this game console that doesn't really fit in with everything
have all
else.
those features.
They do, but they're going to try and bring it. They're either going to have to try and bring it back into the fold of becoming part of this Microsoft Home thing, where your computer talks to your television, talks to your music system, talks to your refrigerator, talks to everything, and then all connected through your tablet phone or your work computer. So, I don't see them doing that anytime soon, just because they've been burnt so bad. You can either try and bring it into the fold or you can cut it away as dead meat. And Elon Musk has said in the past that he's not adverse to the idea of just booting it, which brings up an interesting idea. What if Apple bought Xbox?
I don't think they would. Apple has shown zero interest in everything gaming since its inception.
I know. But then again, Apple also has no problem talking to...
But then I guess Steve Jobs is no longer there, and he was the one that didn't care.
Right, he was
and
the one...
Without him, Apple is like, what the hell do we do?
I know, they're a wild card. I mean, shit, they're even meeting with Tesla talking about Apple vehicles, for fuck's sake. Yeah, they're kind of... They're casting about looking for the next big thing, and you can feel it. There's a little bit of desperation, like, we've only got a little ways to go before we can have to do something other than the iPhone. And we're not quite sure we got all this money and we know we need to do something. We got a little bit of time to kind of snoop around, but I think that things might change for them if they saw an established console with all of the infrastructure sitting right there and name recognition and brought it over to Apple. It would be almost like plug and play.
Don't they kind of already have... They have Apple TV.
Apple
and that's
TV.
essentially Xbox without the games.
Right. Sort of, I guess. I mean, what's Xbox without... Here you go. What is Xbox without the games?
What's
The
Netflix
set-top
without
box.
movies?
It's a media box.
Right. And that was what we hated about the Xbox One.
Roku.
And that's what we hated about the Xbox One. That was the thing
some
we
people hated. I think that's cool. It's just that maybe it went too far in one direction,
Right.
not in the other. But I mean, come on. You watch Netflix on your game console.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I always watch it on the game console. I never watch it on the computer.
No.
Screw that.
Yep. Agreed.
We want it to be a media box because that's the only.
To a point.
Look at
To
what
a point.
look at what happens if you create a standalone gaming device like the Wii U. It
Yeah.
has to be a media box.
Well, no. The Wii U is a media box. Well, sort of a media box. It is a media box. It's like a media box light.
Yeah.
It-
And no one wants that.
It
So
was neither
everything,
here
though,
nor there.
I mean, your iPad, your Xbox, your PlayStation, your iPhone. I mean, everything basically has your core group of streaming. The Netflix, the hockey and baseball apps are on there. Crackle, Amazon. I mean, pretty much everything has your core group of streaming services on there. So, but why you need to hook it up to watch TV if you have cable TV is stupid, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what Apple would gain from buying a game console.
Well, other than the fact that they've already the thing that the Xbox the Xbox One is really not sold its gaming customers on is what Apple already kind of has. Does that make sense?
Which is
media integration. Apple TV is existing. If you took the Xbox and turned it into an Xbox Apple TV and sold it to Apple TV users, they would buy it. Whereas what Xbox tried to do was kind of make Apple TV fit into the Xbox on their end and tried to sell it to Xbox customers, and it didn't sell.
Yeah,
it's a whole different market.
The audience for an Xbox console is way bigger than the audience for an Apple TV.
I agree. And I would be super interested to see what Apple would be doing with Xbox, because I think, in general, that there's a lot more confidence in the way that Apple engineers products as opposed to Microsoft.
When Steve Jobs was alive.
Right. And that could be almost like the defining thing. It's like Steve Jobs.
I mean, look at the newest iPhone. It has a fingerprint scanner.
I fucking hate the new iOS too. It's awful. It looks like a Microsoft. That's the other thing. The new iOS on Apple, it looks like a Microsoft product. It's horrible. I hate it. You don't know any better, Nick. But the other one, the old one, it was better last year. The old one was better. Seems
back
like
in my day we had.
Back in my I still have it. In fact, I'm really pissed that I was stupid enough and I did it for a reason that I thought it was going to fix a problem and it didn't fix it. Is I updated to the point where I didn't have the Google Maps on it anymore. It was the Apple Maps, and then they removed Apple Maps and put in. But now it works differently. But the old Google Maps worked great. I don't know why they freaking messed with it. It worked fantastic. It works better than the new stuff. But I regularly just don't update my phone simply because I have seen the updates go really
because
pear-shaped.
I just got a little push for a software update this morning.
Whenever you get an Apple product, if you get an update, wait a week and then go online and check out to see if you can find anybody complaining about the update. Because sometimes the updates do terrible things to your battery. It will make things not work properly. That's one of the things you have to be careful of with Apple. Is it
closing that window? Yeah,
just don't update until you're sure that the update is good. Because frequently they'll do an update. It's got something busted in it, and they'll have to do another update. Just kind of do your research before you do your updates. Not all
back
updates.
on subject games, I don't think Apple will ever buy Xbox.
No, but it'd be an interesting thought. In a perfect world. In a world where Xbox.
In a world where Edie's a liar.
Shut up.
Video game podcasts come and go. Only one woman stands up for both sides.
Right.
And changes her mind all the time. And that one.
It's called being a devil's advocate. It's looking at something without taking a side.
It's called Nick. You just got nicked.
I'm a verb.
Yeah, not only that, you're a preposition.
Yeah, I'm a verb, and I am language itself.
You're an article. You are a past participle, my friend.
Yep, I am everything.
You guys use
Nick.
That's right. It's a whole sentence there.
It is Nick to Nick to Nick death.
Do you guys have any news? I'm sure Nick does something.
Yes. Let me look around.
Okay, if you don't have something, I got it right away.
Well, small, little random cool thing. There's a documentary about the development of Last of Us called Grounded.
Oh, I saw that.
Making of Last of Us, and it's for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, yay.
And it looks like Last of Us is not going to ever get a sequel. I read that somewhere, and I can't remember what it is.
There's another interview where someone said that it's like 50-50 it'll get a sequel.
Yeah.
Apparently, the DLC is really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
That makes me want to hook up the PS3 again.
Is that a little orgasmic sound?
Really
good. Yeah, I'm wondering if it will get a sequel. It might be just one of those games like.
I kind of hope not. It doesn't really need one.
I don't know. I see a lot more.
Something else. I would want to see him do something else.
I see a lot more opportunity with that whole world, especially with Ellie.
That's true. They don't have to stick with Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, no, or they don't even have to stick with Joel. I mean, I think that it would be good to stick with Ellie as an older woman in this world. I mean, things are obviously changing and will change. That the plague, so to speak, has it happened in a fairly recent history. So there's a lot of change to happen in society to go from the point of where that story is ending. Things are kind of just starting to sort themselves out. So and people are going to rebuild, no question. So I see that there's a lot more to do that. So I hope that it does happen. Actually, I see that being more like a Walking Dead than, say, a one-time shot of one story that just ends there.
When does this whole zombie thing finally come crashing down?
When The Walking Dead is no longer the number one show on cable.
When Walking Dead jumps the shark.
Zombies have become the perfect enemy because they're just, it's like we need to go back to hating aliens again. That was good time. I know zombies are like the most politically correct villain ever.
Yes.
Because
they're non-human.
There's no defending a zombie. It's not like they're this or that or the other thing. Or
it's not like they care or have emotions. All they want is brains.
It is. I understand they're the perfect enemy because no one can be offended if you kill a zombie. You really, really can't, But it's like zombie to death. I mean, it's just, no matter what happens, no matter what chemicals released, we're not going to turn into friggin' zombies ever.
Right.
And, ever. I know it's fun watching them.
And if we do turn into zombies, we would want to be dead anyway.
And we wouldn't realize it because we'd be zombies.
Right.
And we wouldn't believe it anyway. And then you would probably change your mind anyway about the whole thing.
No, I wouldn't. Never have. But I might play devil's advocate.
You might want to be a zombie.
Stop.
Think of
This is why I like ethical games, is because you can look at both sides of the story instead of just, running down a hallway in ignoring all the signs that maybe this is wrong.
You would be immortal as a zombie.
I would, see?
So you're being a postpartum participle again.
Postpartum participle?
You just using all these fancy phrases and stuff that English people use.
Immortal? Immortal isn't a fancy phrase.
It's like, I'm going to start using hockey lingo. I'm going to come back check, or I'm going to forecheck, or I'm going to go top shelf or something here. And you guys will be like,
I'm sorry we're bringing out the SAT words there, Goalie.
Yeah, I know. What essay? Is that like KFC? No? All right, never mind.
All right, here's something that maybe we can all agree upon. There is a new book that's coming out. I think it's in August. It's called Console Wars, Sega, Nintendo, and the Battle That Defined a Generation. And it's essentially a book, a nonfiction book about how Sega Genesis took on the Super Nintendo and how it was kind of changed the way that consoles were marketed, changed the way that consoles compete with each other. Well, that book has got so much buzz around it. It's not even released yet, but it's got so much buzz that apparently the book has been optioned by Sony Pictures, and that social network producer Scott Rudin has already announced that they're developing a movie based on the book that's going to be co-written by Superbad co-writers Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. Essentially, the team that brought you The Social Network is going to be bringing you Console Wars about the Sega Genesis versus the Super Nintendo.
Seth Rogen didn't write Social Network.
No, but he was a super bad co-writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of the reason this was getting buzz, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the guy writing the book is the same guy who wrote the book Moneyball
right.
and The Social Network.
Right. He's really, 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 really good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I guess he's done a shit ton of in interviews, hundreds and hundreds of interviews, essentially just piecing back together how that whole situation went down and how it changed everything. And it did for the whole console and gaming marketplace. And it was really had a lot to do, or at least was at the beginning of of gaming becoming this multi-billion-dollar industry that dwarfs movies at this point.
It should be a really good read. I actually read a book a few years ago called The Ultimate History of Video Games.
Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal. This goes back to like the early days, even before the Atari, and then the whole Nolan Bushnell thing and how that happened, and then, in television and Activision and right up through Nintendo. And like I say, it's quite a few years old now, so it probably get up to maybe the first Xbox where it kind of fizzled out. But it was a really good thing about how the coin shortage of when arcades come up, how there were no quarters anywhere and stuff like that.
I remember that, actually.
It was really a great read, and I think this will be too.
Yeah.
There's all these little facts that come out of these books that you're like, wow, I never knew that, or I didn't put that together. And one of them I remember reading from this other book was Nintendo, before the NES come out, was trying to market their video game in America. And at the time, this was like early 80s, this was the big decline of video games, like right after the Atari and television, before NES, which I think was 85 or 86. There was 2 or 3 years where video games tanked. It was just it was almost done. And Nintendo approached Atari to have them distribute and be the person handling the NES, and Atari said no, and Nintendo says, well, we'll do it on our own, and the NES just boomed, and Atari kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one.
Yeah, and there's actually another good book that's kind of like that if I want to, wow, we're actually recommending books on the GameHounds. There's a book called A Race for a New Game Machine. I should send that to either one or both of you if you have time for it. But it was the story of creating the chips that are inside the 360 and the PlayStation 3, and how there was a lot of corporate spying going on, and it was just horrible.
Yeah.
And it is written by one of the engineers who actually worked on the PlayStation 3 chip, and all the shitty things that 360, pretty much 360, that Microsoft did to PlayStation to just essentially rape them of the technology that they were paying for to create the chip for the 360. It's a really fascinating book of literally spying, like people like doing crazy things in bathrooms in order to get the information that they need, or cruising through documents and find one little line of finding out that would give them an idea of what Sony was doing with their chip, and then Microsoft going back to because Microsoft's the chip manufacturer for Microsoft and Sony's chip was the same guy. So Microsoft was playing both sides against the middle to get that technology and have whatever Sony was paying for the research to create, have it put into their chip for free. And just leveraging back and forth. It's fascinating. So, yeah, it's called The Race for a New Game Machine by Dave Shippey and Mickey Phipps. Yes, I said Mickey Phipps.
You remember when the choice of chips was either Ruffles or Lay's?
Yeah, it was ranch or nacho.
No, this is just brands. It was just potato chips.
There were no flavors.
No, yeah, back in the day when you talked about chips.
And then Pringles came in and fucked it all up for everybody.
Oh man. Oh, but
Those are great.
that was so awesome. And then like you dump it in your hand, you'd be like, oh, look at all like,
And you could just eat like
together this thing. It's like a whole spoonful of love.
you'd hold it like 6 inches of those things, and then just unhinge your jaw and just take it out in
And then-
like a
then
bite.
When you ate the last one, you took the tube, you tilted it
Up
upside
right down, and then absolutely.
at the bottom, and all the crumbs went in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, good time.
All right. Well, probably a lot more to talk about. Actually, I have a lot more to talk about. Do you want to take it over to happy endings?
Sure.
All right. So, besides, I'm getting a really bad echo. So that's
Okay,
somebody.
yeah. I wasn't going to mention that because we were ending, but
Yeah, there's a big echo. So I'm going to close this out. You have been listening to GameHounds episode 252, recorded on Wednesday, February 26, 2014. I've been Edie Sellers, and with me has been Holy Goalie and Nick DiNicola. Ways to get a hold of us. GameHounds.net is our website. You can also check out our Spreaker feed at Spreaker.com/GameHounds. And please check out the Facebook site so that you like it. So that way you can get all this information throughout the week and be able to be almost more than what we do. And that is Facebook.com/TheGameHounds. In addition, don't forget to subscribe to our Twitch feed. We do actually do quite a lot of twitching, and now that I have a camera, you can actually see me live and in person getting the shit scared out of me and Outlast. And that is twitch.com/TheGameHounds. And send us an email to chat with us, gamehounds@gmail.com, and our text line where you can also leave a voicemail, and that number is
304-300-9889.
all right. We will be over at Happy Endings in just a few minutes. We go live, and you can listen to us. That happens every weekday, every Wednesday weekday at noon Pacific. And you can join us live through our Spreaker cast. So go ahead and go to Spreaker.com, sign up for it, subscribe to the GameHounds, and you will be able to join us live. We would love to have you. Until then, we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.